Creatures that were scarier than dinosaurs, Part 2. If you were asked to close your eyes and think of an animal you wouldn't want to be caught dead in the same city with, chances are you'd probably think of a dinosaur, right? But what if I told you there are some animals that even a dinosaur would totally run from? Well, in this video, we dive deep into some truly terrifying beasts, from things like an arthropod fish to meat-eating lizards. So make sure you stick to the end of this video, because the #1 creature on our list will leave you frightened to the soles of your feet. Now, without wasting any more of your time, let's begin. Jaekelopterus. If the numbers are true that there are more people with a fear of scorpions in the world than spiders, then the world is definitely a happier place, just because these creatures don't exist anymore. Described as sea scorpions, and get this, these animals could grow up to a staggering 6 feet tall. They existed around 431 to 418 million years ago, which was around the Silurian time. Their fossils were discovered by a fossil collector named S.L. Mitchell, and it was believed that they lived widely across the northern hemisphere. These anthropods had a 6-segmented body with 2 large eyes and a mouth at the bottom of their head. But what was really crazy about the Jaekelopterus was its 2 giant pincers that somewhat looked like that of lobsters. They used these pincers not just to capture their prey, but also used it to shred their prey into bite-sized pieces. It is believed that the Jaekelopterus must have made use of gills present in their abdominal area to breathe and not to forget their tail. 'Cause what's a scorpion without a tail, right? However, researchers don't believe their tails contained any venom. The Jaekelopterus died off during the Permian extinction period, which saw the extinction of around 95% of marine life. So you can breathe easy and be grateful scorpions are all you have to worry about. Well, if you think this animal was absolutely ridiculous, the next one is going to absolutely blow your mind. The Gorgonops. Next on our list is Gorgonops. These beasts existed during the late Permian era and were really similar to a couple of modern mammals we have, at least on the outside. However, they were not mammals, mainly because they laid eggs, although it still remains debatable if they took care of their young. Also, they may have had fur and could have regulated their body temperature internally. The Gorgonops had several types of teeth and legs that were located directly under its body rather than in a sprawling posture. Their skull was massive and could grow up to 14 inches long, and from the tip of their nose to their tails, they could grow about 2 meters tall. For context, if they stood on their rear end, they would be taller than American basketballer Steph Curry. And that's not even the craziest part about this animal. One thing that stood out about the Gorgonops was their saber teeth. These monsters had the first saber teeth on the planet, and unlike the jaws of the later saber-tooths, like the saber-toothed cat, the jaws of the Gorgonops were long, resembling that of crocs. They had only 2 types of teeth, the saber-like canines and the shorter incisors, and together, these teeth made them a powerful killing machine. However, scientists believe these teeth might have also had a hand in the extinction of the species. The way the teeth formed made them useless at chewing meat, so they probably had to feed like crocodiles. They ripped away chunks of meat and swallowed them whole. However, you might want to hang on tight, because the next creature is one you'd want to avoid at all costs. Camarasaurus. Did you know that only 5% of the ocean has been explored? Yep, you heard that right, and if you're like me, you must be thinking about all the terrifying sea monsters that exist without human knowledge. Well, one of them is the Camarasaurus. The Camarasaurus was a species of cephalopod mollusk that existed between 440 to 470 million years ago, in what is North America today. The Camarasaurus was the largest animal in the oceans of the late Ordovician era. They had a shell and could grow up to 10 meters long. Now, this organism worked like a jet engine because of its large shell. It moved by forcing water into a powerful tube hanging underneath its head, and this caused it to move in the opposite direction. They probably spent most of the day in deep water like modern-day squids and moved to shallow water during the night to hunt for prey. They would grab onto their prey with their 8 tentacles and rip it to pieces. Well, that's a pretty gory sight, if you ask me. Scientists believe that they had poor eyesight, so they may have used chemical sensors to smell out its prey. Tens of thousands of fossilized remains have been found with occasional whole rocks made from their remains. Some even preserve their color. For an animal that first appeared 490 million years ago, that is pretty impressive. Quetzalcoatlus. And up next, we have an even more frightening animal, the Quetzalcoatlus. Now, every time we look up to the sky and see an eagle or an insanely large bird, and that urge to bring out our phone and record the moment comes in, we have to be grateful the Quetzalcoatlus doesn't exist. These humongous birds were once the largest flying bird to exist. It was from the late Cretaceous time and was classed as a pterodactyloid pterosaur. Well, that's a real tongue twister you should try. These ginormous birds were toothless with long stiff necks and would have stood with a wingspan of about 33 feet. That makes the eagle look like a baby in comparison. Fossils show also that they could grow to be as tall as giraffes. There were definitely no stopping this bird. Possibly the only thing this bird didn't have was the good looks to go with it. But from what researchers have gathered about this monstrous animal, the Quetzalcoatlus would have brought death to anything and everything that stands in its way. Now, before we get into some truly terrifying creatures, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to this page for more videos like this one. Hallucigenia. Next up on our list is hallucigenia. It was discovered by a man called Simon Conway Morris in 1977, and when he found this organism, he was so confused he thought he was hallucinating, hence the name. And this confusion didn't just stop with Simon. Decades later, biologists have been studying fossils of the hallucigenia, trying to figure out where its head is. Up till recently, they are still trying to discover whether its head is its tail or the other way around. Fortunately, thanks to our brilliant technology in the form of electronic microscopes, we have a better idea than ever before of what hallucigenia actually is. Researchers believe that this organism existed about 540 million years ago during the Cambrian explosion. During this time, there was a sudden burst of new biodiversity on Earth. It had two descendants, which are two varieties of worms. It grew up to around 140 millimeters long and 125 millimeters high, and had a tube-like body with 7 pairs of dorsal spines. Its ventral lobopod limbs had tiny little claws on the ends, and while these tiny organisms wouldn't have been able to launch an attack on even humans, their looks are disgusting enough to make you think they are scarier than dinosaurs. And if you aren't terrified yet, then keep watching this video, because this next animal will definitely blow your mind. Thalatarchan. Trust me, this next creature looks like it's straight from your nightmare. The Thalatarchan. This sea monster takes the cake when it comes to intimidating looks, and it wasn't just its looks that made it so intimidating. Even its name, Thalatarchan, literally means lizard-eating sovereign of the sea. If this doesn't give you chills, then I don't know what will. It was discovered by some scientists that this 28-foot-long monster lived around 288 million years ago during the Triassic period. These bad boys were more than twice as big as most Jurassic Ocean predators. This group of reptiles lived in the ocean alongside dinosaurs, but one thing that made these freaks of nature stand out was their insane diet. Based on some fossil findings in Nevada, researchers discovered that this creature was able to eat prey its own size. Imagine eating someone the same size as you. Simply unimaginable, right? Well, one thing that scientists haven't been able to wrap their heads around is how they went extinct. It seems unbelievable that they survived the mass Permian extinction and thrived for around 160 million years after then. But strangely, they started declining in numbers towards the end of the Cretaceous period. We feel their diet had something to do with their disappearance, but don't let them know we said that. Now our question for you is this: which of these creatures terrified you the most, and which ones would you have loved to see in real life? Let us know in the comment section below, and if you found this video interesting, click on the link showing on your screen to watch the first part of this video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye!